Very good morning, Ali. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, I hope the screen is visible. Good morning, Ibrahim. Good morning. Thank you, Ali. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so with no further delay, we will proceed with our today's session. So hope everyone's doing well and please be safe at home. So today's topic that we would be discussing is about narrative skills. So what do you understand by narrative skills? Anyone? Why is narrative skills needed? Story. Okay. Okay. Who are the best narrators you have ever seen? Who are the best narrators? Be it outside or be it within your family. Who are the best narrators? Okay. For narrating any stories. Okay. Nice. To improve listening and speaking skills. Ibrahim. Very nice. Yeah. So as I asked, who are the best narrators you have ever come across? Good morning, Nayana. Good morning. Father, okay, very nice. And mother, okay. Who else? Yes, father and mother, yes, they are the ones. I'm expecting one answer. Grandparents, yes, brilliant. I was expecting this. Grandparents. Siblings, yes, kind of, okay. But yes, grandparents are the best narrators you would ever. Great grandparents, yes, if you're so very lucky. Grandparents as well. Very true. So, grandparents are the best narrators. Why is that? They used to tell a lot of stories. How they come across with that? How do they narrate such kind of stories? Have they ever experienced? No, but still, look at the way they narrate it to you. Especially when grandparents tell you some bedtime stories, isn't it? How would it even feel when grandparents or grandparents narrating you stories, isn't it? They are the best narrators you would ever come across. Why? Because they would have such a kind of narrating skills where they tend to explain you the story in such a way that you would still want to listen more, isn't it? That is the main skill that is needed. So why is narrative skills needed in corporate world? Why is that also a soft skill? Let's get further and we'll read about that. So before that, what is narration? Excuse me. So narration is the act of telling a story, usually in some kind of chronological order, isn't it? How can you tell a story? You tell it in a once upon a time, isn't it? You try to frame it in that way. You try to have a sequence for that when you're explaining the story. Making up a scary ghost story and relating it around a campfire is an act of narration, especially when you're going for a trek and you're having a campfire at night in any forest, and you tend to end up with horror stories at night, telling looking at your surroundings. Don't you feel that first of all it's pitch dark everywhere, and you're just the way of light is only the campfire, and you tend to tell them the stories in and around, using the in and around surroundings, and you tell to cook up stories of horror things. Don't you think how you narrate it so that others feel scared, isn't it? Can you tell a comedy scene in such kind of places? No. So look at the way how, in what kind of situations, what kind of narrations you start giving, isn't it? So it is a kind of storytelling where you use a sequence. Then these are some of the types of narrative skills. First one is linear narrative, then it is non-linear narrative, then it is quest narrative and viewpoint narrative. I think you would have come to know by looking at this itself. What do you understand by linear, non-linear, quest narrative, and viewpoint narrative skills? Isn't it? So, with no further delay, we'll get into next one. So, linear narrative. What do you understand by linear narrative? Can anyone give me an example for linear narrative? It presents that the events of the story in order in which that actually happened. So, what would be the best example for linear narrative? Anybody? What is the best example for linear narrative? Toy Story. Okay, very nice. Movies. Let me consider it as movies. Ali. Okay. The Thirsty Crow story. Okay, very nice. Which everyone loves this. Any other? Okay, I'll consider it as The Hare and the Tortoise. Okay, very nice. Ali and Ibrahim, I think you guys are going for the olden comics. I really appreciate that. It's giving me memories where I used to I used to hear all these stories. Very nice to know that. Okay. So, apart from those stories, what are other things that might come in linear narrative? You've told stories, comics. Okay. Which are the other things that fall under linear narrative? Movies, isn't it? Then cooking shows, when you're about to cook something, isn't it? Isn't it a linear narrative? When you're about to prepare a dish, That also falls under linear narrative. Am I right? Singing shows, okay. What else? What else? Dancing shows, kind of relatable, okay. Then, so these are things which come under linear narrative, where you can, when it comes to cooking shows, if you're preparing a paneer matar or a chicken biryani or whatever it might be, can you put things here and there? No, there is one sequence. Big Boss Ali. Okay. Well, it's not that relatable. Okay, I appreciate your answer. Big Boss. Nice answer though. Okay. So when it comes to linear narrative, you tend to give, okay, when it comes to corporates, linear narratives in the sense, you try to give them, if you're giving a presentation on a product launch, say for example, you're working for a marketing firm where you're launching a uh, new product. So how do you present it? Using a presentation slide, you try to prepare it, you try to arrange the slides. That is linear narrative. What comes after what, and what comes next? What is the analysis? What is the market strategy? Isn't it? So this is the way you try to frame it. This is the beginning. What do you put? You'll try to put what is the product that you're launching, what is the name of the product that you're launching. Then you try to show the product in the next slide. Then you try to improvise it, telling what is this product, then what are its uses and advantages. Then comes, how does this help to customers? Then this is how. So it is a sequence. At the end point, what are the profits that you can gain? You'll try to put, this is a price, this is a MRP rate that we would be selling, this is a profit that we would be getting. So you'll put financial status. So this is how you try to frame it in presentation, not just exactly the product, be it anything, either ideas or whatever it might be. So this is, can be relatable to linear narrative. Then we'll go to non-linear narrative. So what exactly is non-linear narrative? A non-linear narrative presents the events of the story out of order. It is similar to linear, but where the thing is, you're not using a sequence here. You don't use any kind of sequence. This does not have any kind of story which is narrated by someone else and you're explaining it to it. This is completely of your own. Can someone give me examples for this? What exactly is non-linear narrative? Any examples for this? Anybody? Anything, it's okay. What, attending online class? Okay. That is, that falls under non-linear narrative. Okay, fine. Why is that? Attending offline classes. Okay. Both of you and just a word difference. All right. So non-linear narrative in the sense where you have come across, say for example, now you have come across a kind of situation where if you are explaining it to any of your friends, how do you tell that? You try to go think about flashbacks. This is what it had happened. Maybe that might not be in an order. You just try to deliver the message. Instead you're telling from the beginning and the ending point. In between you might jumble things here and there, isn't it? When two of your friends, say for example now Ibrahim and Ali, both of you have faced a situation, touch wood, you might have seen an accident which has happened in the road, or when you are traveling on a highway you might have seen some accident in front of your eyes. Touch wood, it should not happen, but still. So how do you tell that when you're explaining it to anyone? How do you tell that Ali will come up with his own ways? So this had happened, there was a brake failure, there was a dog which came in between. So that is how you train. Then Ibrahim might tell it in another way, where the bus or the vehicle was in very high speed and he couldn't get, the sequences might be different. So that is completely a non-linear narrative. What is the beginning point and the ending point? Beginning point is the vehicle is in fast and the end point is meeting with an accident. In between, what all happened is something dependent on those individuals, where each of you tend to use different methods of explaining different situations, how it happened. Different people have different narrative skills, where one person would narrate it in a different way and the other one would narrate it in another way, isn't it? Then next comes quest narrative. What exactly do you understand by quest narrative? It is also a story in which a protagonist works tirelessly towards a goal, which means the individual would not have an end in the story. Instead, he narrates an assumable end. This, anyone can give me an example? I will explain it to you. Anyone, what exactly do you understand by quest narrative? Anybody? What do you understand by quest narrative? A sports game or a match? Beautiful, beautiful. I really appreciate this, Abraham. Very nice example. Anything else? Yes, as your friend told, a sports game or a match, a cricket match especially, that is also a game where it is also a quest narrative where you never know which ball, how many runs, who would win the match. That is one way. That is also a very nice example. Apart from that, say for example, now your goal is to become, say for example, if you want to become an adventurous games like PUBG, okay, Ali, nice example, okay. By this, I can get to know that you're a gamer. Nice to know that. So, what exactly is a quest narrative? Say, for example, now an individual wants to become a IAS officer. Okay, and quiz games, very nice. So, if he has to become an IAS officer, the end point is becoming an IAS officer. For that, what is the beginning stage he has to do? Or else, even if he has to become the CEO of a company, and you have joined as a fresher to become a CEO, let's not take CEO, even if a managerial level, that is his end point, that is his target. So, how is he going to reach to the end point? If there are two or three people who's planning to become a manager within 3 years or 4 years of time, how are they going to plan? They don't have a chronological order. where you have to do this, you have to do that, only then you'll become a manager. No, the company does not give you any uh, structure where if you do these things you'll become a manager. Have you heard anywhere where a company says that you have to do these things so that I will give you a post called manager? No, it depends on user defined pathway. He plans accordingly. What are the works? First, he'll try to strategize things. What are the things that can be completed? Say, for example, if he's given four different tasks at a time and he has to complete that task within 2 days, he'll try to manage things very well. He gives a better output. What are the things that a manager does? He'll try to on himself. He'll try to implement on himself. At the end stage, becoming a manager is an assumable end, but the procedure which he goes might not be in a sequence. For example, the one person who's been working in the company since 10 years might be getting a salary only of 40,000. But another person who is newly joined within 1 year of time frame, he might end up with he might end up more than earning than the manager. He might start earning 60,000. So what is the difference between both? The person who's been working since 10 years and he's become a manager over there, who's earning an annual income of only 40,000. This is just an assumption, guys. So if he's earning only 40,000, the one who has come newly, who's just freshly graduated on 2020, and within 2021, 2021 year end, he's been so very capable to become a manager. He's overtaking the manager role. Don't you think different people have their own strategies? Work is the same. Both of them are doing the same work. 10 years back, the person A came, he's also doing the same sequence. And when the person B joined recently, even he's also doing the same work. What are the strategies he used? So that is something questionative. It depends on him. The main end point is to become a manager. Same when it comes to cricket. What are the strategies they do? Is there any chronological order where, okay, when this term comes one by the time someone scores 100, he has to become out, and then again, so we have to replace someone else? No. End point is winning the match. So planning, it totally depends on the scores, what they have gained, and the balls that is left out. How many runs left out? How many overs are left? Till the last ball, you never know what is the game is, isn't it? So what are the alternative things that can be done in case if a player gets over with only scoring 10 runs? What is the next strategy the captain has to follow? Whom he has to send? Then whom he can check with an alternative connection? If he would have a score telling that, okay, now this person would have scored 100, he will definitely score, so after that I can frame him. But for his bad luck, if he gets out by 10 runs, then he'll have to check with an alternative, isn't it? So this is something called as quest narrative. Then comes viewpoint narrative. Viewpoint narrative is also, it doesn't have any sequence. There is there is no end point also. Say for example, if there is some situation which has happened, if there is any good situation or bad situation it has happened, or your friend would have faced some kind of trouble, the way of you looking might be different, the way of your friend viewpoint might be different, isn't it? If your friend has committed a mistake and he is framing it in such a way that it is not his mistake, and when you analyze the situation, you get to know that from your point, you can get to know whatever the inputs he has given, you will get to know whether From your point, is that right or is that wrong? Isn't it? So there are too many decision points which you come across. The conclusion points might be end within four points or within some other views, some other inputs. For the best example for this is anyone. What is the best example for viewpoint? Anybody? What is the best example for viewpoint narrative? There is one place this thing happens a lot. Shooting for a movie. Okay, agreed. Anything else? Okay, shall I tell you? The best place of viewpoint narrative that is used is courts, isn't it? In courts, where the lawyers give their own clients, where there are two different clients and two different lawyers supporting for their clients. How do they do it? In their viewpoints. You never know who is the criminal, whether the person standing at the right or whether the person standing at the left. You never know who is a criminal or who is the culprit or whatever it is. But still, you tend to explain. The lawyers tend to explain the viewpoints. They would have not been in the situation, isn't it? Do you think the lawyers would be in that situation where, say, for example, if a murder has happened or a robbery or a theft, whatever it has happened? Do you think the lawyers would be there? No, they just find out the things that is available, isn't it? And then they try to argue with the opponent team or supporting the clients. That is the best place where they give their own viewpoints, isn't it? Apart from courts, which are the other places where you would see this viewpoints? Any other examples? When you're consoling your friend, if she has undergone or if he has undergone any kind of depressing activities, isn't it? That is also a viewpoint narrative where you would support your friend in putting your feet into your friend's shoes, and then you try to think and analyze what he is facing through and what are the viewpoints that you would come across, isn't it? So these are the four types of narrative skills. Let's recap. The first one is linear narrative, then it is non-linear narrative, then comes quest narrative, and it is viewpoint narrative. So let's keep getting further. Why narration skill is needed for corporates? Yes, it makes the presentation or speech more than just an organized group of words that convey a message, isn't it? Now, say for example, if you're planning for a product launch where you have shared an idea, it's not just one person who's doing that. If you're in a team of 5 to 10 members in minimum, and you all sit in a place where you tell them this is a product that we are about to launch, don't you think you get 10 different ideas from 10 different people? be it 15 or 20, whoever it might be. You try to, some people give the advantages. What are the ideas that can be improvised? Some people give their viewpoints of disadvantages so that you can cover up, isn't it? So these are some of the points where narration skills are needed. Say, for example, now I need an AC, which it should be suitable for both winter and summer. How are you going to do that? How are you going to design it? Because when it comes to car, we have both AC and heater, isn't it? From blue to red, you just turn it back, then you get warm air. If you want red to blue, then you get AC. So the same AC, if you have to prepare it for house, what are the technical things you have to do? So what are the things required? How will it provide warm air? AC will be useful only in summer season, isn't it? Where you need to be, where the outside temperature is high and you need cool air. Can you use AC in winter? You'll not even touch the remote, especially now, where Bangalore is in under a situation where it is having 17 degrees, 19 degrees when it comes to in the evening and night. Do you think you can use AC at that moment? No. So how do you present it? An AC with a heater that is suitable for house, isn't it? Where group of people gives their own ideas and their own inputs, their own benefits, their own perspectives. What are the technologies that can be used? Not just exactly for the AC or the product launch. There are many things like this. Why narration skills is needed in corporates? When group of people are discussing, these are the outputs that we have been given, will be giving. How are you going to execute that to get that output? Isn't it? So for that purpose, narration skills are needed. So what are the main benefits of narration? Nurturing the hidden creativity, isn't it? When you are narrating, don't you think your brain is working on some product or working on something that you are giving an exercise to your brain, telling it, yes, this is what I have to deliver. How am I going to plan it? What are the things that can be done so that I can narrate it? What are the things that can be done where I can impress the manager or impress the person who has come and given the project for me to execute? Isn't it? Then improves reading skills. Especially it tries to improve your reading skills. When you're reading something, there is a lot of difference where a person is reading a news and a person who's narrating a story, isn't it? Have you ever seen that? When it comes to news, they just go with one single line flow. They just tell you what is the main thing that had happened. These are the situations that they came in. But when it comes to a storyteller, how does he uses the voice tone, isn't it? So when you're reading a story and when you're reading, when you're reading a newspaper and when you're reading a story book, don't you think there is a lot of difference? When it comes to newspaper, you just try to read the things whatever given there and you try to see the picture. But when it comes to storytelling, you try to read it with a different tone, isn't it? There's a voice modulation that happens when you're reading. So it tries to improve your reading skills where you tend to learn new words, then get a different perspective, isn't it? When you're reading a novel, especially, you try to see, say, for example, if you're reading a book of Sherlock Holmes, which is completely of investigations, how do you read that? There are way two different perspectives. isn't it? You try to see the things in a different way, where the book or narrated would be in a different way. Then you try to gain research knowledge. Of course, when you are narrating things, before narrating, you have to gather information. You have to gather knowledge, what you are about to present, isn't it? So these are some of the benefits that you come across when your narrative skills are improved. You try to improve your reading skills, then your creativity increases, isn't it? Then, how to improve your narration skills? Most of you know the topic what you are about to explain. Say, for example, now you are given a pick and speak topic. I've given you five different topics or six different topics. I'll tell you to pick any one of the topic and then speak on it. How do you narrate it? Most of you know how to narrate it. You know, say for example, as you've told in the previous comments telling that the hare and the tortoise, you know the story, but you're not able to explain it, isn't it? You're unable to explain how the story runs. You don't know from where to start, where to end, what happened in between, isn't it? So when it comes to such kind of things, you try to read simple picture books. Now, for suppose the same hare and the tortoise story is just given in a written format, do you think you can explain it? No, you never know how does it even look, isn't it? So when you read simple books which has comic contents, especially even in newspapers, you will find it. So that is how, just see how they narrate very short stories in newspapers. A three cartoon or four cartoon, four slide cartoon stories, isn't it? So when you read such kind of things, there are two different benefits. One thing is your English vocabulary will improve, telling what situation the dialogues are coming, and then you try to improve your narration skills. You try to think, looking at that cartoon, you try to think how the comic would be explained, then use a puppet and try to frame a story. Especially most of the kids do this, isn't it? They try to play with all those dolls. They try to create a situation when the animals are given, animal toys are given. They try to create a situation where a leopard is hunting a deer, isn't it? Then try to watch cartoons on mute. This might sound silly, but really it works to improve your narration skills. Just try to, let's take an example of Tom and Jerry. Have you ever seen a Tom and Jerry where Tom and Jerry having a conversation in mouth? Have you ever seen anywhere? It's completely a mime where only through sound effects and only through cartoons you get to know the situation what it is going through, isn't it? The Tom and Jerry, both of them don't even have a conversation, but still, look at the cartoon how it is done. So when it is on mute and you try to lip sync the animation according to the situation, don't you think your narration skills would improve? Then try to frame stories that you look around. Sir, even Mr. Bean, yes, yes, even Mr. Bean, when you see those comics, not just Mr. Bean, there are many shows like that. There are many cartoons like that. Even like, what do you say that? The Oogie and the Cockroaches, whatever it is. It is completely a mime where Hindi or English lip sync is given. Try to mute that and then try to give the lip sync. Don't you think your creativity would improve? Don't you think your analytical skills would improve? Don't you think your narration skills will improve? Isn't it? You try to frame stories according to the situation. You don't even know what would happen next. But still, if it is on mute, you try to give a lip sync, you try to give a voice for it. isn't it? So that is how you try to improve some narration skills. There are people who have learned languages looking at cartoons. Do you believe it or not? So that is how you try to improve narration skills. Okay. Then, have you heard of narration therapy? What exactly do you understand by narration therapy? Okay. Narrative therapy is a method of therapy that separates a person from their problem. As I told in the previous sessions, it is similar to counseling. It encourages to people to rely on their own skills to minimize the problems that exist in their lives. Say, for example, now one person is having some issue in friendship where two friends have fought, and each one of them have narration therapy is a form of psychotherapy that seeks to help patients identify their values and skills associated with them. Very nice. That's really a nice answer, Ali. Thank you so much. So this happens where the counselor uses a story method where he tries to put the situation, he tries to give the girl or a boy or the friends who's sitting there, he tries to give a solution for the problem. Yes, Ali, very nice. Example is counseling. Yes, where a person is explained his situation in terms of story. These are the situations it came through. Then he tries to give us a solution also through a story itself. Look how beautifully they give solutions. The counselor can directly say that this is a solution you can just follow. No, he tries to console the client who has come to him when he is asking a problem for a solution, isn't it? He tries to explain things in a different manner. He tries to give situations. He tries to explain it in stories, isn't it? So that is how, where a person who's hearing that story himself to that story and then he tries to find a solution. He won't give a direct answer. He'll try to give an indirect answer so that the solution can be understood by the client itself. So it's not just one thing. There are many things which counselors use different kinds of techniques. So time to check your narrative skills. As you have been hearing from a very long time, what kind of narrative skills helps you, and what are the skills or benefits that you can improvise within yourself to improve the narrative skills. So now let us test your narrative skill. How well are you in narrating things? Okay. So you need not tell me anything. Okay. You need not mention it in the chat bot. You can just give it in one single line, whatever the answer you feel like. Okay. So here we'll be doing a very small activity. Okay. So if you have any pen or book around, so the activity is called story dice. Okay. So how the story dice would be is there are set of dice that would be rolled. Okay. So you will have to see the pictures, whatever given in the dice, and you have to frame a mini story. Okay. So this is an activity that is given to you. So after that, I would tell you what are the instructions. First thing is keep a book and pen ready. Okay. Try to take a book or a pen or a sheet of paper, whatever it is. This is very much interesting. You will definitely enjoy this. Don't answer it to me, but still, it just depends on how well are you good in narrating things. Okay? I hope everyone have kept your pens and books ready. Once you have kept your pens and books ready, please drop a yes message in chat. Okay, Anush Mehdi, yes, okay. I hope everyone is ready with the pen and book, okay. Now, I'll be showing you a picture, okay. So when that picture is shown, try to write down the words that is shown in the picture. When it is an image, and you'll have to see that and write it down, and you have to frame a story for that, okay. So let's get further. So these are five different dice that I have rolled. Okay. One is a ghost, one is a magnifier glass, one is a trophy, one is a dragon, and the other one is a cooling glass. So these are five set of dice that I have rolled. Okay. And these are the cartoons that I have given. Now, you have to frame a one line story using this. I will give you 3 minutes of time. Take your time, write it down. Let's check how well you can analyze, how well you can narrate things. I just want a one line or a two-line story. You can mention it in the chat. Anybody got? Anyone framed a one line story? Isn't it interesting when you're about to frame a line sentence? Then this is some of the set of roles that is dice, where you have glasses, a car, a snail, an island, a sun, timer, a liquid glass, a diamond, and a music symbol. and a pirate flag. So say, this would be nice if it was an offline mode. Why? Because you would have your own way of creativity, your own way of thinking, isn't it? Where you can sit and discuss with your friends and then you try to frame a story for it using the dice, isn't it? So, what did you come across this? There is only a varied dice that is rolled, isn't it? When the dice are rolled, there were different images that you came across, and you started writing down the words given in that, and you started analyzing how well, from where you can begin the slide, from where you can end the slide, isn't it? You try to analyze the words, you try to frame it in a sequence, isn't it? You started giving things in a chronological order, where you started framing different stories. Okay, from where I can start, whether to start it from the ghost or whether to start it from something else, isn't it? So that is how you start thinking. Your narration starts thinking how would it go, isn't it? Look at the way how it is designed. All different are all 5 to 8 dice completely with different images. You don't know which one to start with, which one to sync, isn't it? How well you can proceed further, how well you can frame the dice, where which one to come first, which one to fall under second, which one can fall under third, and what can be the situation. And you're narrating a story not in pages, in just one or two single lines. So how well you can frame it. See, that is there are many things like this which you can come across. So these are the ways, these are the very small things that helps you in corporate world, where you can present things very well. Your presentation skills will improve. The way of explaining the product or the way of explaining the ideas would be improved, isn't it? So I hope everyone have enjoyed the session. Thank you so much for everyone for being very patient and listening to the session. And if any one of you have any queries, please feel free to ask me. I would clarify it with you. Thank you, Ali. Thank you so much. So I'm sending you the attendance link and also the feedback form. Please do fill the Google Forms. Okay. For more videos and lecturers, please try to subscribe our channel, that is 7th Sense Aptitude Prep, where you will find all kinds of aptitudes of different companies like Wipro, Infosys, or whichever companies. Okay. And you can solve all the papers that is provided, and also for other courses and test contents you can log into our website, that is www.seventhsensetalent.com. You can sign up and practice what all aptitudes that would be given in the companies, and that would be very much helpful to you. So I hope everyone have enjoyed the session. Thank you so much for being very patient and listening to the session. Have a great day, students. Thank you so much.